Welcome back. You're watching HFO-TV, co-sponsored by AMF Capital, the Baljanik Law Firm, the Butler Exchange Group, and the construction firm J.R. Johnson.
Welcome back to HFO-TV. I'm Greg Frick, partner at HFO Investment Real Estate. Today we have with us Tyrone Pools, founder of Oneapp Rentals. Thank you for coming.
No problem.
We're going to get a little rundown on kind of what Oneapp is, where it's going, and where it's been. So again, thanks for stopping by with us and giving us a little update.
All right, well, Oneapp Rentals, we built the platform that allows renters to find place they qualify for quickly. We really streamline the application process in the qualification process. The way it works is we went out and we collected the unique screening criteria of all the management companies, or the majority of the management companies in Oregon, and put their unique screening criteria in one database.
Got it.
And so now a renter on our website can pull their background check for free.
Pull their own background.
Their own background check.
Okay.
And it filters the results of their background check against the unique screening criteria of every management company, every vacant unit. We have a statistic for Portland, since right now we have 309 management companies on the platform that represent about 4,000 listings. Okay. And pulling your background check on Oneapp is the equivalent of spending $200,000 in application fees and going around and apply to them all. Okay. And 11 years of going out and applying. So,
and is it based is it Portland, or is it the state of Oregon? Oregon. Okay.
Yeah, it's too difficult to do a city because management companies manage properties all over. So I could manage, management company in Salem will have Portland listings, right? So
vice versa.
Exactly. Okay. So you just have to say state of Oregon and then collect all the licensed management companies in Oregon. So we have a list and we go after the list.
Got it. And get their criteria, put it in the system.
Yep.
And then are you tracking the vacancies, or are they has that being auto-populated?
It's auto-done. So we created our own, we call it a bot. And what we do is we put it on the websites of of every management company. So all they have to have is a website, and it harvests the information every hour. Yes.
Got it.
And it makes it look really pretty on Oneapp. And so all management companies have to do is update their own website, and it automatically updates the state website.
Gotcha. And then as a prospective tenant, I go in, done my background check, I've done through, then can look and see what matches based on what
exactly. And the best feature is that if you don't qualify, the site tells you exactly what changes to make to qualify. So it doesn't just say, not approved. It says this property requires 5 accounts in collection maximum. You have 7. You must pay off 2.
You need to address this.
Right.
Gotcha.
And then we show you all 7 accounts in collection, dollar amount you owe for each. So if you're smart, you'll pick the cheapest 2. You'll sprint in that library bill, and you'll pay those 2 off.
Get out there, yeah.
And then you're approved.
So then, are you also helping tenants who comes up with, maybe some things on their credit, or as resources to what to do to kind of get that cleaned up, or where to go?
Yes, the first step was to help educate renters, and the next step was to create products in the market that would help renters overcome barriers. Because sometimes it's stuff you can't fix. Right. Like if you can't have any evictions within 1 year, well, you can't fix that.
Right. It's a time thing.
It's time. Right. And the website will literally say you must wait 32 months before applying to this property, which is not a useful, Right. So we had to create solutions to help those.
Got it. And then as if it's not a management company, it's a private owner, can they be involved listening to that, or is it, again, pulling it from a website?
Right now we only work with licensed management companies. Okay. And it's because mom and pops, we don't have we call them mom and pops, the self-managed. You we don't have like a Craigslist system to list your own property. Right. We only use the automated bot system. And the second reason is because there's sensitive data on the platform, we wanted to make sure that they were a licensed company. We didn't want like a mom and pop, somebody posing to be that from India and putting a $700 3-bedroom and then taking credit card information and not credit card, but socials and all that, and then creating fake accounts. So we haven't put together a vetting process to make sure that every mom and pop is a legitimate business owner. Right. So
then are you collecting the tenant's background, security, or social security number, running all that info? And then,
Yep, comprehensive screen, exactly. Soft pool, so there's no credit damage, but same exact data.
And then from that, you're able to look at what buildings kind of fit that, or what criteria that fits, and then try to match.
Yep, we have a map that shows up, and it's color-coded pins. So green pins, yellow pins, and red pins. And that's for approved, denied, and conditionally approved. So you can search by pins just by looking at the big map, and then, or you can go by the list.
And then is it, once that's done, is that where is the tenant then going directly to the management company?
That's exactly right.
Okay.
So it's know before you go. That's our tagline. So don't spend all this time and money. Go to that management company knowing that you have to pay off one account collections, and you have the receipt for it, and that's with my application. And
are they coming with a are you providing like the approval, or how does that work?
Nope, we just send them on their way informed. So there's no surprises. When they show up, they get their, you must pay a double deposit, and they're like, we knew that. We knew, the website already told us we had to pay a double deposit for this property.
Got it, okay.
So there's no guessing.
But they're not having to run another credit check or any?
Well, they do. The property has to run their own background check.
Gotcha, okay.
Yes.
Okay, so then okay, got it, all right.
Yep.
And is it free for the tenant?
It is.
So there's no?
Exactly, 100% free.
And then for the companies that are putting their information on it?
100% free.
Okay.
Yep, so we generate revenue is probably the next question that you're gonna.
That was just coming there, I mean,
All right, so so it's a marketplace, so both sides can participate for free. That way it's everybody's using it. But then once they're in there, there's products on both sides that can help create success. And so for the renter, we launched our most popular product, which is our cosigner product. So we found in 2018 that 71% of all the people that were denied would have been approved if they had a cosigner.
Right.
It was like the silver bullet to access. Yeah. But only 2% of people apply with the cosigner. So the most powerful
tool. A lot of them don't even know about it. I mean, a lot of them don't even think that. A lot of them don't even know if you had a cosigner that would address that issue.
Exactly. So. And then if you do, how difficult? People really have access to cosigners.
That's true too.
So now we put the product in the market, and we do about 60 a month right now. And it's people who are like, man, I really wish I could live here. And it's like, this property uses our cosigner product, so take it. And then when they apply with our cosigner, knowing
they've got a cosigner.
Exactly.
I got you. Okay.
So we use it.
What's the percentage of properties that allow somebody coming in with a cosigner?
Oh,
I'd say majority.
In the 90s.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So if the tenant knew that ahead of time, they would.
Then they can show up with a cosigner.
Okay. So that's a service you provide for the tenant.
Yep.
Okay.
And for we have a tool coming out this summer. It's really awesome. It's called the reverse search. It's the first time in the industry it's been done. So you can actually you can be a property manager and click on a vacant property, a vacant unit, and it will pull up a list of every renter that qualifies for this property on the platform.
That's within the system.
Yes.
Got it.
So you can actually send a pre-approval or you can do an open house and say
and send it out to everybody
that qualifies.
So when a tenant goes in, are they putting their time frames in? So
they do. So when they're looking, and then you can also, and the entire background check on our site is only good for 90 days.
Right, so you've got to re-go.
So you have to get it. You have to do it every 90 days anyway.
Right, but from a property standpoint, if I've got a vacant coming up in 2 weeks, I can go through your site and say, give me everybody that would qualify that's actively looking, and I can do a.
Yep, and there's the way it looks is like an eyeball, and you can hover over it, and it says like 240 people within.
And then are they able to send something, or they send it to you and you guys blast it out?
It will be a blast that they send directly, and that's a tool that they would pay to have access to.
To those, gotcha.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. That's why the marketplace is free, and then the products within the marketplace that they can use.
What other services are available for tenants? Is there? So it's security or a cosigner, security deposit issues.
So that's another one that we're coming out with, and that one wasn't the next product in our process.
Right.
It was kind of triggered early because of the new ordinances passed. But yes, that's another one. It's a security deposit. So instead of coming up with like $1,000 deposit, you'd pay at $24.99 a month.
So it's like an insurance policy.
Exactly.
Right. Where they pay.
So if the renter doesn't pay their damages and losses, then you can file a claim and collect money within 10 business days. So it's not even a
so then the owner or the management company has insurances that
exactly. So it makes access to housing a lot easier for people who don't have $4,000 or $5,000 up front.
Right.
You can move in with $2,000 first month rent and $25.
So in terms of getting properties, it's aggregated from management companies.
Yep.
Oregon, it's Portland prominently, but you've got buildings outside of.
Yep.
So then how are you marketing to tenants? Are you marketing to both? How do you trying to, what's your usage right now on Oneapp?
So we do about 1,000 to 1,500 a month. and it is, we've never advertised. We started, well, once we powered the City of Portland's website and called it Oneapp Oregon, that really that started our traffic because they pushed their own website, and word of mouth. Okay. Just people found out there was a website that I can find out where I qualify to for free.
Make it easy, yeah.
And then it just started to go, and we went 500, 900, 1,000, 1,200. And it just,
okay, so active people looking.
Yeah, new background checks.
New background checks, got it.
To find out where they qualify.
And do you have a percentage of how many are actually finding places, or is that?
So that's a percentage that everybody asks us for, but it's so tough because we know how many, we only measure how many people we showed where they qualified to live.
Right, because you don't control the guy.
Yeah,
if I qualify across the street, but I don't want to live next to the river or something.
I have no idea where they went or if they found a place or whatever, but I know how many people we showed, right?
Got it.
So that's about it.
And then how many units do you have? Do you know aggregate? I mean,
that's another thing that we never, so.
You have buildings, but I guess you don't have the full building, you just have the vacants that come on.
Right, because the screening criteria is associated with building.
Right.
It's rarely associated with a unit.
Gotcha. Okay.
So because we need to let you know if you qualified for this apartment complex, we don't need to let you know the unit you qualify because it's, so. So we break it down to floor plan level because that's the difference. Like this 3-bedroom, 2-bath, the rent is going to be higher.
So that's for your qualification.
Exactly. So you might be denied to the 4-bedroom, conditionally to the 3, and approved to the studio 1, right?
Got it.
That's how the site's broken down. But we are actually, because of the new ordinances in Portland, we are going to units.
So let's talk about. So we have the fair access is, on the board to come and play. I think March.
Yep, March 1st.
Who knows? It may get pushed. One never knows. Yeah, but
but never know.
So where does Oneapp fit in terms of where you're at today with the regulations to where, if this goes into place, what does Oneapp, does that expand? The kind of what you guys can do or what you can deliver?
It does. It does. I'd spent a lot of time working on the group that was put together to help kind of understand the screening criteria in Portland, and the data that was used to determine what access looked like in Portland came from Oneapp. It was our database. So we spent a lot of time on that, and there was a lot of stuff that we learned through this process that I don't think most people realize. So well,
it's not the easiest data to get.
It's not. It's not. Yeah. And what we learned is that we didn't have enough data. Right. Like what it comes down to is there's so much more to learn, and it started off, Udaley's office, they did their best with that. Like they tried to come up with some ordinances that worked, and they blamed properties a lot for not helping as much. But when I looked back at the data, we found out that properties couldn't work together. It's not possible for them to work together. Say 20% of property management companies say we don't take renters with no rental history, and 80% say we do. Well, if you talk to this person, they're going to say, oh my goodness, we do not, it's horrible to take a renter with no rental history.
Right.
And then the next property is going to say, I don't know, we don't care about that ordinance. That's fine.
Yeah, it's the other stuff
Exactly. And so you have all these people who are like 40% and 60% and 30 and 70 and 50 and 50 and these splits on every single category. So when you are going to people and you're trying to figure out what ordinances are good and which ones need to be changed, half the people are saying, hey, I don't know why people are arguing with that. That's fine. This is the problem. And then other people are saying the exact opposite.
It's kind of tough. I mean, I feel bad for some because I think a lot of stuff is in the last couple of years have been based on some anecdotal story of one. Like, okay, great. I understand this one position. I'm not, but do you do that for the whole market? Because is that really the
and so that's one of the number one reasons we put this new product together that we call Fair Beta, is because we didn't have the solution, and we know that one of the weirdest things that we found is that everybody was trying to search for who was telling the truth. It turned into like a witch hunt. Like it was like, you go to one management company and they're like, yeah, 2 times the rent is fine. We do that all the time. And another management company is like 3 times the rent or they won't make it. And then you're like, somebody's lying, right? So then we talked to people, and I met with the company and that did 2 times the rent. They have 2,000 units. And they said they do about 1 FED a month. And so you're like, 2 times the rent, you're only evicting 1 person a month? And we're like, well, then that means this must be the truth, right? And then when you ask him how their business runs, he explained his business operations, right? And he's like, oh, well, we allow partial payments, and we don't charge a deposit. We don't evict without letting them do a payment plan, and all these other features that they do. And you're like, oh, well, you're specifically set up to help low-income families, right? And even when they talk, they're like, oh yeah, we don't charge a late fee if they communicate with us, because we know how first of all, your payday land on the 7th could be the difference because you don't have any savings. And then the other piece is, a $100 late fee could put you into a spiral that you can't come out of. And when you hear them talk about it, you're like, this was intentional. And so then you go to another management company and they're like 3 times rent doesn't work here. And when you realize they were all telling the truth.
Right. It's a different, everybody runs their business differently.
Exactly.
And I think that's been
And when this person says 2 times the rent is fine, it is fine for them.
For that group.
Right. And
or for that particular situation, yes.
And so then I got nervous because I'm like, we just put a blanket criteria over the entire city when they don't operate the same. So I wanted to understand where risk came from. So we built a platform that basically, first of all, very few people are accepting the low barrier. They feel like it's a poison pill for their business. And in reality, you would know if it's a poison pill for your business because you're looking at it and you know what works and what doesn't work.
And it's so tight that you don't have the flexibility to say, hey, if your credit score's a little low, if we get more to whatever it is, you can't do that. It's kind of the one box fits all, which then ends up nobody fits in the box.
Exactly.
And then we're like, okay, did you really solve the problem, or we just made it worse? So
now everybody's going with the individual assessment, right?
Right.
And so that's the worst case, because then it's worse than no access, right? Because then it's no access, and then the industry has another new financial burden, right, of $250 or $300 per denial, which obviously gets made up by rent. I mean, these landlords don't have any other mechanism to generate revenue, just rent.
Well, I mean, landlords are not in the business to keep a unit vacant.
Right, exactly. So
that's kind of the.
So we created, we basically allowed landlords with our new system to approve everybody based on the low barrier. So we are saying, adopt the low barrier, and any renter who doesn't meet your criteria but does qualify under low barrier, rent to them, and Oneapp will cover the risk.
So that's in place now, or getting in place?
Yes, it'll be in place for March, when the ordinance launch. And so so now you can rent, and every single time a person doesn't meet your criteria, we will send you a certificate that basically is attached to that unit saying we'll pay 3 times whatever that rent is. And so now the landlords can take people in, and we can collect data on who's successful and who's not. Right. Which is what we didn't have. All Oneapp had originally when FAIR got created was we knew exactly why everybody wasn't qualifying, but we didn't know if it was the right decision that this person was not.
There's no track record as to what happened.
Right. No, what happens after you get approved? No data. So now we will be able to say, 5,000 people moved in at 2 times the rent, and this was the default rate. People who moved in, I mean, I can literally, our software identifies the exact ordinance that created access, right? So if 2 times the rent is why this person got in, because that ordinance, or if
what criteria they made, which ones they didn't.
Exactly, and then we can be like, this is what they got in under, and is this safe, right? And if it's not safe, where is it not safe? Why is it not safe?
So are you going to try to work with the management companies to get data on, once we get a tenant in, what happens 6 months, 12 months, 2 years down the road?
That's the brilliance about the guarantee being attached to them, because they're going to reach out to us to give us that data. Right? If that person doesn't work out, they're going to be like, hey, Oneapp, you owe me 3 times the rent on this property. And then I'm like, oh, what's the renter and what's the unit?
The situation.
And now we have the data, right?
And how long is the guarantee for? Is it the first?
The whole
the term of the lease?
The whole lease term.
Okay, so for the first year they're
Yep.
Got it.
So we will cover them for the whole contract.
Got it. Okay.
Yep. And the landlords in return, basically, if a renter is denied, we have the verbiage already, but they will get a link before they get a denial. They get a link that's like, you don't qualify, but based on the new ordinances, we are offering this opportunity. Basically, instead of the landlord taking the deposit from the renter. It would be a one-time non-refundable fee to the guarantee. So the move-in is virtually identical. The out-of-pocket cost for them to get in. For the tenant.
Yeah.
So if they were approved, they're not coming out more money, but instead of a 1 month's deposit, they have a triple deposit from the landlord.
Got it. Got it. So that's planned on being rolled out if and when this new ordinance comes in. Too. Okay. Yep. So I understand there's going to be like a presentation or kind of a rollout of this next month. Maybe you can give me a little kind of where and who's doing it.
Yes. We're going to be using Templeton. Sydney over there is amazing.
Templeton Property Management?
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
And it's going to be on February 20th.
Great.
I'll send some flyers out and some information out.
Well, we're familiar with Templeton. We've done a lot of transactions with them over the years. They're a good management company. So that's great. We'll look forward to doing that and go from there. Perfect. So if somebody wants to find more information, they can go to the website below here and get information both on the tenant side and on the landlord side.
That's correct.
Regarding the system. Okay. Well, thanks for coming in and give us a little update. I'm sure we'll be in touch and talking more and more, and we'll see you next time on HFO-TV.
All right. Thanks you very much.
Yeah, it was great. Good.
You too.
Definitely.
Our entire office specializes in multifamily real estate, making HFO the largest multifamily brokerage in the Pacific Northwest. Your success is our passion. Build your legacy with HFO. Call 503-241-5541 or visit our website at hfore.com for more information.